So much, Minister. Colm O'Gorman is going to come up and share with us now. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Catherine. To David and to Mark's family, thanks for the privilege of being here with you today. And to David's friends and all who knew and loved him so much, I really mean it's an extraordinary privilege to have you offer us an insight into the fullness of who Mark was. And I think that's incredibly important. And if I can, I might offer some reflections maybe on what I would hope we might all collectively, not just the people in this room, but the people beyond, outside of this room, take from Mark and take from his life, and even take from the story of his life that we've seen here today. People have mentioned and talked about the issues that brought Mark full centre into Irish life and to Irish consciousness over the last couple of years. And they've talked about his courage. It always struck me when listening to Mark, and I could really both see and understand and connect where this was coming from, that what motivated him was not anger or rage. What motivated him was a deep sense of justice and righteousness, and how grounded that is in simple humanity, in love. And the great privilege of hearing you talk today about Mark was I could see and hear that loving heart, that loving person in its fullest possible sense. And it really underpinned for me that deep, deep sense of understanding that what he did, the fact that he spoke out, it wasn't about rage, it wasn't about anger, it wasn't about revenge, it wasn't about kicking back. It was because the things that were done to him and to David and to so many others, and then critically, the way that they were responded to when they spoke of these things 20 years ago, was a grave offence against humanity and against love. And that seemed to me, that's something Mark and David could not tolerate. So when we talk about their courage, maybe there's a lesson that we can take from this too, because yes, it takes courage. On many levels, even though when you're doing it, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, David, it doesn't feel like it's brave. It feels like it's impossible not to speak, right? One gets to a point where it's not possible to be silent anymore, and then you do it. And what you discover is not that you're diminished by that experience, but that you're enriched by it. That you begin to be able to manifest more fully who you are in the world than maybe you ever did before. The things that we stay silent about shame us. And the things that we stay silent about because we feel fear or shame about speaking of them, it's not our shame, it's a broader collective shame. And when we speak, we throw that off and we allow ourselves to be fully ourselves. There's a lesson in that, I think, for all of us. Let's not be a society where we keep secrets that exist in open sight. Let's not be a society where we look to those who we failed, who we've abandoned, who we've most hurt, to be brave. Mark's courage is undoubtable. It's unquestionable. But we also need to acknowledge that his courage is not simply a reflection of him as an individual. It's actually a reflection of a cowardly society. It should not take those who have been failed to access the courage to speak out to get the rest of us to acknowledge what we knew as a matter of fact for a very, very long time indeed. So let's have many, many more Marks, many, many more Vicky Phelans, many, many more Davids. Let's have many more people who are prepared to offer us with love, with courage, with compassion and humanity, a mirror to allow us to see more of the truth of who we are and to access that better part of ourselves. Because what Mark showed us, and what I've seen time and time again in my own life, is that where we face the darkness that exists at the heart of humanity, what we meet is its response. And its response when we access the truth of our humanity is always Mark's response. It's a hunger for justice, for truth, for love, for living in a fulfilling, joyful way. Mark taught us that. So we can take that from this place and we can live that to honour and respect and remember Mark. Let's be Mark. Let's be more Mark in the world. Let's access that courage, and let's do that proactively so that others don't need to step up and call us out and get us to do it for ourselves. Mark transformed so many lives, that's really clear. I feel such a sense of envy as I listen to you talk about your experiences with Mark, not to have those experiences too. And at the same time, I feel blessed to know that Mark has had such an impact on so many lives and will continue to have that impact. Because as I said, when we cast off shame, when we cast off silence, when we refuse to be silent in the face of great wrong, we stop tolerating it and we create the conditions within which others can do exactly the same thing. It is inevitable when somebody speaks out from a position of injustice and names it, that will not just embolden other people to speak, it will create a space for those voices to emerge. And Mark did that for so many people, along with David. And his voice, it was wonderful to hear about the experience in Berlin this week. Mark's voice will resonate for a very, very long time indeed. And the voice that will resonate is that voice of courage, of love, of humanity, of dignity, and of very, very great integrity. And it will continue to transform the world, as will David. So David, be strong. Be the warrior that you are, and also know that you don't have to be. Look to others. Demand that others stand and be warriors with you, because your battle is not just your battle. I know that what you're battling for is a world and a society within which there's no need to be this courageous. We all have to ally with you in that. So know that we're with you, and not just in this moment. You've heard it from other speakers here as well. We are here if and when and however you might need us to be. Thanks very much indeed.